Hello, this is Molly Reamer with this week's Rituals of Returning video for the Creative Spirit Circle and 30 Days of Goddess. So today we have a buffet, so to speak, of possibility, including a card from Earth Runes, two cards from Maya Toll's Wild Wisdom Companion, my own Story Goddess Oracle cards, and I also wanted to bring your attention to this children's book, Persephone and the Pomegranate. So lots to cover this week, and we will see how we do. So I'm actually going to go ahead and start with our Earth Runes card. This was a progressive oracle card system that's still in development, but that I created for our Goddess Magic Patreon members last year, and then it's been archived now. You can still buy the printable set separately, but it's been archived now for further development as I would like to continue to write more about it, explore it more. But I'm continuing to explore the cards this year with all of you. So we received the Waning Moon, which might feel a little bit like an odd card to explore right here in the beginning of spring, which really feels like a new moon phase of the year, but there's some wisdom from the waning moon. This is a rune of release, of surrender, of decline, of letting go, of ease, of recognizing, reclaiming, and returning, preparing to withdraw. So we're actually right now preparing to emerge, to leap forward, to spring forth. But in order to do so, is there something you need to let go of? Is there something you need to release? Is there something you need to surrender? Is there something you need to leave behind in order to leap? So what are you surrendering? What are you releasing? What are you letting go of as you prepare to emerge? Okay, so then we're going to look at our two cards. These are the two cards from the Wild Wisdom Companion of the early spring. And so the first one is the wind, the element of air. I found this card meaningful on a personal level because, first of all, I'm recording the audio version of Walking with Persephone, and the very first section for March is about air and the initiation of air. And on another personal level, we've had such high wind. We had tornadoes locally that really did a huge amount of damage in our local town. We had and disrupted mail service. We have high wind right now. We had high wind on Wednesday when I was working on the newsletter that took out our electricity for a couple of hours. And so wind is very palpably present. I always encourage you to root yourself and presence yourself in the teachings and the wisdom and the learnings of your own landscape. So wind is very clear and present for me right now. So that said, we're going to check in with what Maya Toll has to say about the wind. And she's using this as a symbol for changing your mind. So the wind is a messenger of change. When she barrels through the open windows, bills get blown from the desktop and doors slam. Scents waft in from the neighbors' kitchens, tantalizing ginger and cardamom inspire future travels. And then, as the wind changes direction, the sweetness of freshly baked brownies makes you wistful for an afternoon in the kitchen. The wind is shameless about changing it up, brazenly declaring the deliciousness of a fresh start. And this is really powerful here. Wind most wants you to change the things that are made of air, your thoughts. It's easy to simply abandon your current course and choose a new path when the wind blows in. It's harder to use the wind to reinvigorate the path you're on. Some might call the wind fickle, but don't forget that she's fierce in her demand of new ways of thinking, seeing, and being. When the wind blows through, change has arrived. So what is changing for you? When the wind comes, how will you meet her? With your bags packed and adventure on your mind, or hunkered in the storm shelter waiting out her persistent call? So we've explored several times recently what is calling to you? What is calling to you? What is asking for change? What is asking for change? What is being reinvigorated for you? What path are you choosing? What path are you choosing? And that brings us straight to the second card for early spring, which is the door. And this has come up for me a lot. I keep referencing the fact that this feels like a threshold time. You know, we're standing at the threshold of choice and change. We've approached the crossroads. It's time to choose a path forward. It's time to move. It's time to leap. It's time to take action. It's time to choose. And so she says this. Imagine that you could walk around behind yourself, and standing at your own back, there's a little door nestled right behind your heart. Perhaps it's the same door the moon peers into during winter solstice, or perhaps it has an arched top and is made of solid wood, or perhaps it's bronze and embossed with roses. No matter how your imagination pictures it, this is the door to your inner sanctum, and a place only you can unlock. What is your inner door like? The door reminds you to pause and choose whether or not to fish out your key and open the portal to your inner world. As you stand behind yourself, know that you always have a choice. You can unlock the door or keep it barred. You can choose what and who comes inside and what remains outside. And also remember that sometimes the mind says no while the heart says yes, and you have to choose too who to listen to. The door is your opportunity to get clear with yourself and balance out the desires of body and brain. What will you let in and who will you let in? What will you let in and who will you let in? This is a powerful time of choice, so listen and choose. The other questions are, what have you already let in that does not belong? What's hurting your heart or disrupting your energy? And what should be outside that's currently inside? So it's time to choose what to let in, what to let out, what to keep out, what to keep in. So at what threshold are you now standing? What are you choosing? Which way are you going? What is calling to you? And how are you crossing the threshold? So then I had a little bit, I wanted to make sure. Interestingly, I have found that Persephone is not represented in most of the goddess decks that I have. Demeter is there, Persephone is not. And I'm really surprised by that. And I've looked back through and looked back through and looked back through in case I was missing her. And she's just not there. Most of the goddesses that we explore in these monthly videos I at least have something about them in terms of other cards or decks and things. But for Persephone, I have this Persephone in the Pomegranate book instead. And I thought about actually reading it to you, and then I realized it would take me way too long. But I did want to show you a little bit of the nice paintings in here, these Chris Waldher paintings. And so if you have kids, you may wish to scope out this Persephone and the Pomegranate book, or even if you don't have, you don't have to have kids, you may enjoy it for yourself for this work and this exploration of Persephone's story. And so I wanted to show you that. And then I also wanted to share a little section from the book by Glynis Livingstone, A Poiesis of the Creative Cosmos. And this is what she writes about Persephone. Persephone's return is the certain return of manifest creativity. She brings with her knowledge of the depths. Isn't that powerful? She brings with her knowledge of the depths, from whence springs all creativity. Persephone's journey is about becoming familiar with the inner realms of herself and falling in love with those depths. So this door, this inner door that you carry within, perhaps cross into it and fall in love with those depths, as well as her role as restorer of beauty and redeemer. And so in the creation story of the fairy tradition, all manifestation springs forth from goddess falling in love with her reflection in the curved mirror of black space. The ancients understood that the essence of creative power springs from self-love, which can be known and seen only completely in the dark. I call this celebration a stepping into power, the joy and power of being, rejoicing in how we've made it through so much, having faced our fears, the chthonic, and our demise in its various forms, personally and collectively. It is time to welcome back that which was lost, to step forward into the growing light, to fly. This time, Ostara, is a time of enjoying the fruits of the descent, of the journey taken into darkness, into the depths. It's a point of balance of the three faces of the goddess. Persephone representing both the wise one from the depths and the newly emerged. So I love that too. She is the wise one from the depths and she is the newly emerged in one. Persephone, if you read Walking with Persephone, you know that Persephone is a much more complex goddess than just a maiden goddess of the spring. She's the queen of the underworld and the goddess of the spring. She knows what it means to journey into the deep, and she knows what it's like to rise forth restored, to bring hope to the fields and to bloom again. And so that is some messages from Glynis, and interspersed with some messages for me about the power of Persephone at this time. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to save this Demeter card. I realized I don't have time for this. What I am interested by is that this was my card packet for this month. That was so perfectly timed, this month of Persephone. And then my card packet that was left over from Gaia Goddess Gathering was Demeter. So what a perfect holding hands of these two goddesses. But to close out today, I want to bring your attention to our little ritual from this card pack. This is the extra one that I made for myself to put into Walking with Persephone as I have been recording it for the Goddess Magic patrons. So the word that we got on the back here is liberate. And so an affirmation might be, well, our core affirmation for this month is I restore myself to wholeness. Another affirmation might be I liberate myself to choose. I liberate myself to explore the depths. It is in exploring the depths that I liberate myself to choose, or just that I liberate myself. So those are some possibilities. There's another affirmation also tucked into the pocket from our past resources. I keep my promises to myself. And so at this time of Ostara, when we plant our seed dreams and we make our commitments to carry us through the next 6 months, may we keep our promises to ourselves. But may we also evaluate where we are and have the courage to let go of the things that we don't need and that are perhaps holding us back from crossing the threshold or making the choice. And then there are two more little pieces here. This one's a review reminder from last month. Quiet your questions and carve out a space for stillness. Think about all that bides its time in the nurturing darkness, cultivating the confidence to grow. Trust your own time spent in this place between. Cradle yourself in the belly of this moment. It is okay to be here. It is okay to be here. And closing with this prayer/practice. I open my arms to the sky. I call my spirit back. I lay my fingers against my brow and bless myself with clarity. I lay my hands against my heart and bless myself with peace. I cup my face between my hands and bless myself with trust. I lay my hands against my belly. I feel my body on this earth. I return to center. I restore myself to wholeness. Thank you so much for being here today. Keep living your magic, everybody. Bye-bye.